He plied his trade back in the day when train robbers could be folk heroes. And while that admiration was often misplaced, when it came to Billy Miner, there was a reason for the public's affection. Mike McCardle has his story.
Pure romance, at least in the movie version, but in reality, dirt and fear and crime, which was terrifying, as always, and uncontrollable. And Billy Miner, at age 17, started robbing stagecoaches. For this, he went to prison, San Quentin, where beatings from guards and sexual brutality from other prisoners were the real cost of being locked up. By the time he finally got out, he was in his mid-50s and had spent all but 20 years locked up. And now there were no more stagecoaches to rob.
I figure we'd do some hold-ups. That's your line, right?
No, I just robbed stagecoaches.
You try to find one nowadays? Besides, stagecoaches, banks, stores, it's all the same.
No, it's not the same. A professional always specializes.
Well, yours is gone, just like a buffalo.
To escape the law after a few more robberies, he drifted into Canada and started making friends. As a personality, you could not top Billy Miner. Polite, gentle, well-read, kind to children and old folks, generous, and neat and tidy. He also did one other thing. He pulled off the country's first train robbery.
I think we're being robbed.
You're being robbed. Now open the damn door, we'll blow it off with dynamite.
1904, he and an accomplice boarded a CPR in Mission, stopped it in Silverdale, separated the mail car and drove it to Wannock, and took the modern equivalent of $6 million in gold and securities.
William Miner.
He was caught 3 years later in Kamloops. He had changed his name to George Edwards. The folks there loved him and hated the CPR, which they all said was robbing the farmers and ranchers blind, and Miner only robbed the CPR. He never took money from a farmer or a rancher. Crowds said goodbye when the train took him to the BC pen. When the wagon brought him to this very spot, right in front of the prison, there were hundreds of local residents waiting for him. "Hi, Bill. How are you, Bill? When you get out, come and visit us, Bill," they were saying. He was such a gentleman, so suave, so well-spoken, that the daughter of the warden took a special interest in him and wanted to reform him and save his soul. But before she got a chance to do that, he and some friends dug a hole underneath a fence that surrounded the workyard, went under that, over the wall, and were gone like the wind, like a gray fox. And when the police talked to people around town and even in Vancouver, "Have you seen Bill Miner?" they said, "No. And if we did, we wouldn't tell you. He's our friend." He moved back south, now in his mid-60s and still robbing trains, and now called a Robin Hood. Twice imprisoned, twice escaped. On the way back to the prison the last time, the local folks gave him cigars and food. He died at 66 behind bars in Georgia. It is the only time that the citizens of the nearby town ever paid for the funeral expenses of a prisoner.